It's the Mike Nowak Show with Peggy Malecki. Green, gardening, and environment radio, flavored with a dash of humor. Welcome to intelligent, irreverent talk about plants and the planet they grow on. Your questions, comments, and participation are always welcome on Facebook and Instagram at The Mike Nowak Show and at Mike Now on Twitter.
Good planets are hard to find. Temperate zones and tropic climes. And true currents and thriving seas. Wind blowing through breathing trees. Strong ozone and safe sunshine. Well, good planets are hard to find. Good planets are in demand.
Brought to you by Bartlett Tree Experts. Every tree needs a champion. Go to bartlett.com.
Jet streams, perfect air.
And here they are, Peggy Malecki and Mike Nowak.
Well, good planets are in demand, right?
Go ahead, just keep dancing. That's what it's all about. No, it's fine. I think that's what we're going to do today. Because your camera's working, the computer's working for now. Let's
for now. Nah, it's
knocking on something here.
The internet. It's connected to the internet. That was part of the problem this morning. It just wouldn't connect.
The computer bone's connected to the internet bone. The internet bone's connected to the modem bone. The modem bone's connected to the something. The tower bone, whatever. Hey, everybody, good morning and happy holidays. Happy holidays. It's a good thing Rick's not here because he would be complaining about me singing.
Does he?
Yeah, he did in the last show, or I think it was the last show.
But he has sung on the show.
You know what? He has a double standard, apparently. So, besides, as we all know, with my group, the Caroling group, the Frozen Robins, our best-selling album, our best-selling CD is the one titled "Everybody Cries When We Sing." So that's what you don't get. You're like
no. Followed by the reprise, "Far, Far Away."
Yeah, something like that.
And
there
the
you
refrain
go.
from singing.
Exactly. So today, folks, is going to be a little different. As I put in the blog. Yeah, we never do anything the same way, except when we do. When I was doing the blog post, I was trying different titles to please the not the CEO, the SEO gods, which is search engine optimization. Anybody ever done a blog post knows all about that, or has it done a website knows all about that and hates it. So what I've used for those spots we run for the Frozen Robins is John Cleese, and I typed in and now for something completely different, and it gave me like an 85 rating. I went, oh, okay, I'm leaving it. Okay, so SEO likes that, likes me stealing from Monty Python. So that's that absolutely works for me. So this week, here's kind of what happened. It got to be the holiday week, Thanksgiving, and
it's holiday season.
Hey, no, that's fine. Go ahead.
What was that?
Like everybody, I took a couple of days and really chilled. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to book any guests. I don't want to work. I don't want to work hard. I don't want to. Exactly. Sometimes I just go, I don't want to. This is like this weight of doing this show. And folks say, what do you do the rest of the week? Don't ever say that to me in person. Okay, please, just don't. Because this is what I do. And I thought, let's just relax. Let's just have some fun. Well, let's get into the holidays here. Everybody else got to do it right. Let's drink our coffee here.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Actually, this one's now empty, so I can go back to the regular one.
Oh,
This
okay.
is always the overfill where there's a little bit left.
Uh-huh. And then I thought, you know what? I've got some friends who have done a couple of lovely CDs of Christmas music, actually not just Christmas, but holiday music, because Hanukkah starts this evening tonight, and we'll play a Hanukkah song as well. So we're going to be playing some tunes from my friend Bruce A. Henry.
Who's watching right now with Sandra.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad. Oh yeah, there's Sandra and Bruce, and good morning to everyone.
Good morning, Carol.
I
Watching from Glenview.
do my own good morning here. I had that ready to go. The problem with the restream is you can't actually send it until we're actually live. And also, I hope our friends are listening. Oh, by the way, I interrupted myself there. Bruce Henry is a marvelous singer. He performs in a lot of different genres: jazz, pop, R&B, soul, funk, gospel, and contemporary, and even Xmas carols and Xmas songs or holiday songs. And he just released his own CD, which is I'll Be Home for Xmas. Oh, wait, it says Christmas. And it's got a little bit of everything on here, a lot of great arrangements. So we're going to do a little bit of that today. And then also, I hope our friends are listening in Hartford, Connecticut. Judy Handler and Mark Levesque. They are a husband and wife duo who play guitar and mandolin, and they work with other artists, flute and other instruments, and just do amazing stuff. And they did an Xmas CD last year, and that's this, Oi to the World. I mean, Joy to the World. The old jokes are the best. But today,
let me know when I start hearing them.
Oh, ow. Okay, I can just I can just shut off your camera. I can just shut off the microphone. It's really easy here. So we're going to play a little both, but before we do that, I have to tell you that I was doing something yesterday that you're going to hear about right now. Yeah, and I kind of hope that Ron Cowgill is watching from a Mighty House Home Improvement Show. I love Ron. Ron, you're the best. The only thing wrong with you is that you root for Ohio State. And you got to give me this one because I only get to celebrate about once every 9 years when it comes to Ohio State. So those of you who know anything about football, watched the news, you probably saw that Michigan and Coach Jim Harbaugh, the most snake-bit coach in college football, beat Ohio State. I
got to cheer because it's Ohio State.
What's that?
I got to cheer. It's hard to cheer for Michigan, but I got to cheer because you beat Ohio State.
Yeah. Well, and I've never understood that whole thing about why people hate Michigan so much. Kathleen thinks it's because they're kind of considered the Harvard of the Midwest, just like Northwestern is, which would be another reason for people to hate Northwestern. But
Go Cats.
Who knows? Of course, you guys had a rough day yesterday, so that's something I had to play.
Rough season.
Yeah, it was a rough season. See, and we're the polar opposites here with the seasons. And you know what? That might be the last game Michigan wins this year. I don't care if they beat Ohio State.
Even that. What are they called? The Bears one.
The Bears one. You mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even the Bears won.
Oh, yeah, right. On Thanksgiving. Oh, that I have to tell you, I was pulling for Detroit. All right. This is the problem. Whichever team I root for usually is not going to be the one to win. I feel so sorry for Detroit. They're going to have they probably won't win a game this season. So that's our football talk for today. We'll just get that out of the way right this second, because there's more important stuff that we have to do. We are going to discuss a few environmental articles. I put a bunch of them on the blog post. Go to MikeNowak.net. We're going to go through some of these, like a Christmas tree shortage, a holiday pie shortage. What? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they were claiming there was a huge cranberry shortage, which I don't know that there was, but we'll see what happens with the holiday pie shortage.
Oh, well, speaking of cranberries, I'm going to show you a couple of photos. This was a holiday, the holiday dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, Shea Novak Thompson. And we had a small, very small turkey there, organic, just in case anybody cares.
Some asparagus there.
Some asparagus, mashed potatoes.
Your famous mashed potatoes.
My famous mashed potatoes. But see, we took this photo before the dinner, and it didn't show the most important part of the dinner. So I had to go back. Okay, look in the lower right corner. Yeah. All you see there is napkins and silverware.
I'm looking for the pie.
The pie was not there. We moved it off the table. Kathleen, send me that photograph of the pie if you're listening upstairs. All right, so the most important was not there. So I'm going to go to this other shot and bring in, yes, there it is.
Bum, bum, bum.
The cranberry sauce in a can. See, we started eating. I went, oh, wait. We didn't get a shot of the cranberry sauce in a can.
Thank you, Bob Benenson.
Thank you, Bob Benenson from Local Food Forum, who reminded us of this. And I have to tell you, I had cranberry sauce for dinner on Thanksgiving. I had it for breakfast the next morning. I had it for lunch the next day. Cranberry sauce from a can. There's nothing like, if you grew up with it, there is nothing like it at all. And I understand at your dinner there was cranberry sauce in a can as well.
There were 2 cranberry sauces in a can. Yep. And there was also some cranberry jello mold. So there was cranberries for all.
Okay, cool. All right. So that one more thing we have to get out of the way, because we are getting to the holiday season here. And this is a tradition on the Mike Nowak Show. So, folks, bear with us as we do this.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, make it so. Make it so. Make it so. Man, it doesn't show signs of stopping. And I brought me some tea Earl Grey hot. The lights turned way down low. Make it so. Make it so. Make it so. When we finally kiss goodnight. How I hate going out in the storm. But if you...
Really?
Shut up, Wesley. All the way home, I'll be
warm. Oh, the fire is slowly dying. And my dear...
We're still goodbye, then. But
as long as you love me
so.
Make it so.
Make it so. Make it so.
All right, the little
Hello,
plug.
I'm James Covenant. Thank you for watching my video. I would like to announce a very special project. I'm developing my own video game.
James Covenant,
it's
2014.
It's a puzzle platformer called Black White.
Okay.
Black White is founded on a unique gameplay mechanic.
Thank you, James.
The color of your character.
Thank you. No,
either black
it's
or
okay.
white.
We gave you the
All right,
plug.
so Nancy Bender, you say you still find it dreadful. Why? Tell us why you find it dreadful.
What dreadful?
I presume it's make it so.
Or maybe she means cranberry sauce in a can.
Could be.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm not sure.
But Casey Tomato has a great comment. He says, there is enough pie to go round. Pie spelled P-I. Get it? Get it, folks? There is enough pie to... okay. I can't, and I don't even know where...
Where's the rim shot?
I'm looking for... I've got it buried in here. It's because there's so much stuff I got to play today.
While you're looking for that, Judy is watching us from Vernon, Connecticut. Morning, Judy.
Hi. Great. So Judy
and Mark are watching. Mm-hmm.
Which means we should get to probably to some music. Should we do a story first? Let's do a story first, and then we'll get to some of our music, because this is very interesting. I want to start with the Christmas tree shortage.
Okay.
It looks like in Illinois, anyway. I don't know if it's the same elsewhere, but they're saying people should get their, especially if, all right, let's put it this way. There's a place down on Fullerton Avenue, like a mile from here, where they sell Christmas trees outside, and it's probably already set up, and they're probably already, they sell pumpkins there too. It's a little lot, and the same people sell pumpkins, I think, in Christmas trees. If you get your Christmas tree there, you're probably not going to worry about anything. It's sitting outside for a long time. But if you want to go to these places where you cut it yourself, you pick it, you cut it, you better do it quick, apparently. And part of the...
Some of them are only open for another week, apparently.
Wow. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Let's see, around in the Tribune article, around our farm, as I look at crop available for harvest this year, says George Richardson, co-owner of Richardson Farm in Spring Grove. I see nice trees that are 6 to 8 feet high. I can count up to about 5,500 trees. It's a lot of trees, but if I was going to be open until December 20th, like we used to be, I might need 8,000 trees to sell. We don't have that many. He expects all of his trees to be gone by December 5th. That's next Sunday. That's a week. That's a week from today.
When he's closing. Yeah.
Right. And a number of different ones talk about that, the growers. And part of the reason is changing tastes. That back in the day, folks used to like...
10 years ago when they were planting trees.
Right, exactly. They used to like Scotch and white pines. I can remember Scotch trees were all the rage when I was growing up. Now it's fir trees. The problem is, it's, as you say, it takes 10 years to grow these things to get to the point. So they have to anticipate 10 years in advance what trees they're going to sell.
And their drought. And
well, that's it. There's a time and now, but in some places, they're talking about the drought that happened in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is when we talk about trees, and when we talk with Bartlett tree experts and Skeet and our friends from Bartlett about how long it takes trees to be affected by weather conditions. And it's also, Rick DiMaio talks about this all the time. Weather has an impact that you might not feel for years. Trees is certainly one of them. And so some of these people are still dealing with the drought of 2012, which slowed down growth of trees. Another thing, supply chain issues. There we go again with that. Some people want the cathedral ceilings or have the cathedral ceiling. They want the 10, 12, 14-foot trees.
Yeah, because they're bringing in the big trees from Wisconsin and from out of state, and there's only so many they can transport.
Yeah. And if you're going to have a sustainable harvest, you can't cut all of them down. Mm-hmm. That's the other part of it. Now you're leaving carbon dioxide in the air. I mean, there are some people who think, well, is this a growing Christmas trees a good thing or a bad thing? There's a debate on that because of the chemical inputs to Christmas trees, removing the carbon dioxide from the air when you cut them, or leaving it in the air when you cut them. There's also apparently fewer local growers as well. So all of these have led up to what we're dealing with with the Christmas tree shortage in Illinois, and I suspect it might be going on in other states.
Yeah, plus fewer local growers. I mean, just the fact that there's fewer people even selling them, planting and selling.
Yeah.
I would think goes beyond Illinois.
Yeah. So there we go. That's our first story today. And by the way, I'll tell you, I don't know how long we're going to go today. Maybe an hour, maybe a little longer than that. We're going to give you guys a break as well. We'll give you a little time off today. So enjoy.
If somebody sends cinnamon rolls and donuts and holiday cookies, we might be on longer.
That'd be fine for me. And I should tell you, we have some CDs to give away. In the case of Joy to the World from Judy and Mark, it's going to be a download. But we have to figure out how we're going to give those away. I'm really not sure yet. I'll tell you what, we'll take advice, you folks watching, and just go in the chat there and let us know what you think is a good way to give away a couple of CDs from each of our featured artists today. Let's start with...
And before we get, Nancy did clarify, she's talking about cranberry sauce. Cranberry sauce in a can was never my favorite. It was a family tradition. Don't forget that you make sure you slice it along the can lines.
Of course. You can't slice it any other way. I mean, if you did it against the can lines, then it would look like one of those...
Slice it in half.
One of those exercise things you use, the styrofoam exercisers, you know, with your yoga. You know, they're cut in half. They're round on one side and cut. Folks watching know. You haven't used them, obviously. And by the way, Nancy, there's your Thanksgiving cactus blooming like crazy. In fact, some of the blooms are already starting to go. That was from our listener, Nancy Bender. All right, let's get to music here. Here's something from Joy to the World, Judy Handler, Mark Levesque. I picked a few songs. This one is a traditional Russian carol. It is called Christmas. What? What's the matter?
Casey asked if you do yoga.
No. I don't bend very well. I have no center of gravity either. There's not you know what my yoga is? It's warming up for golf with a golf club and then stretching a little bit like this. Let's get to this wonderful music from Mark Levesque and Judy Handler. It is, as I said, a Russian carol called Christmas Candle. And that's, yes, lovely. Isn't that great? There, one of the cool things about the CD they did is they feature holiday music from all over the world. On this particular CD, it includes English, Welsh, Irish, Russian, Yiddish, French, Puerto Rican, Spanish, and Catalonian music, all on this little CD here. Nice. And that was very nice. I think we should just launch into another song. Let's just get to a Bruce Henry video. And again, he has one. Let's get his out. I'll Be Home.
They're here in Chicago.
And right. Well, and he works. He kind of splits his time between Minneapolis and Chicago doing his various gigs. So he's a busy guy. Although, as he said to me, it has been very different during the pandemic, which he's taking as kind of a vacation, which gave him a chance to put this CD together. So let's listen to
which I'll also, you can get it on iTunes and other online as well.
Good, thank you. Oh yeah, and I should mention they have websites. Bruce Henry's is bruceahenry.com, and Judy and Mark's is Judy and Mark, spell out AND, judyandmark.com. So let's hear a little bit from Bruce A. Henry. Whoop, hold on one second. Let me stop that. I didn't have that audio up. Now I got to pop that up. Hold on. Let's get this right, because yes, stand by and go.
Stand by.
Come on, y'all. Let's jump and shout about it. Yes, go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Down in a lowly manger, said our humble Christ was born, and God sent his salvation. That blessed Christmas morn. Yeah, you gotta go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Come on, go tell it on the Jesus Christ is born. The shepherds feared and trembled when lo, above the earth rang out the angels' chorus that had out our Savior's birth. Come on, go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. I said go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Come on and go. You better tell it, y'all. Go. I'm gonna tell it. Go. Gonna tell it now. Go. Everybody, I will. I tell it. Ain't ashamed. I say it. Ain't ashamed. I shout it. I'm gonna tell it.
Yeah. I think what I wanted to hear more of, Bruce, is your falsetto. I mean, you can really sell that. I mean, he's got an amazing range, and by the way, when he sings "Go Tell It on the Mountain," we actually do a version of that with my caroling group, the Frozen Robins, and quite often we sound like a bunch of white people standing around, not Bruce Henry. Although I want to say, because I'm watching Deborah Stout-Moulton, who's watching this morning, the one time I can remember when we did Go Tell It on the Mountain and we sold that sucker was when she did the lead on it. I mean, she just went to town. So, but back to Bruce, great stuff. Bruce
says thank you, Sandra writes.
Fantastic. Well, we got more of that coming up. It's the Mike Nowak Show with Peggy Malecki, and we're going to take a short break and then talk a couple of environmental stories and
figure out how to give away a couple of CDs.
We got to figure out. I'll tell you what. You guys watching us, let us know how we should give away a couple of CDs, and we will figure that out. Like I said, Peggy and I are just having fun today, and
drinking our coffee. Hope you are too.
I've got
or your tea, or your water, or your smoothie,
or leftover pumpkin pie, which is sitting here.
Drinking leftover pumpkin pie?
No, I'm eating with my coffee. It's like I'm doing I can multitask. Hey, the great thing about playing music is I got 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes a song. I can have a bite of something. Pie. Yeah, it's like I can wander around. Actually doing some other work here too.
Yeah, I already walked out once and came back. Yeah.
Oh, so
because I had to get my.
When we come back, you got to plug the December issue. We're definitely and Alexandra's making pralines, so she's making pralines while she listens. Let's get back to some more conversation and some more music. It's the Mike Nowak Show with Peggy Malecki, and we'll be right.
Starting seeds with fluorescence? Let's talk. You've used fluorescent bulbs for as long as you can remember to start your seeds, and they work. We get it. Or you look at alternative lights to start seeds, and the fluorescents are noticeably less expensive. We get that too. But I'm here to tell you, you and your plants deserve better. It's time to take seed starting to another level. Here is why a good quality LED grow light does so much better than those fluorescent bulbs. Your seedlings will get a better start in life with stronger stems and no legginess. Not only will they have stronger stems, they will be stronger overall in order to fight off disease. You can get them in the ground faster because the cycle time for growth can be shortened. You will save money overall because you can grow better quality plants in a shorter amount of time with much less energy than you use with fluorescence.
And now for something completely different.
Oh, holy night, late December back in 1 BC, 'twas the night of the nativity. What a baby, what a night.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm.
So you better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town, Santa Claus is coming to town, Santa Claus is coming to town. Then how the reindeer loved him as they shouted out with glee. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history. You'll go down in history. They loved him, yeah, yeah, yeah. They loved him, yeah, yeah, yeah. They loved him, yeah, 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 yeah.
And
Please, where'd Mike go?
There we go. You need your jingle bells. You've got the real deal there. I got to get me some of those. Wow, but that's blowing out the microphone there. Okay. Ow. Okay. Let's get rid of this. So, welcome back to the Mike Nowak.
That is your holiday for the day.
And those of you listening on the podcast have no idea what's going on here, but
that could be a good thing.
Yeah, that I think so. I think you should tell us. You've spent the week. You see, you didn't really have a week off, Peggy, because you were putting Natural Awakening Chicago magazine together. So you might as well be able to tell us what's going on in the December issue.
Dun dun dun. There you go. Hot off the press.
With candles.
With
All right.
candles. Nice natural cover. So Natural Awakening Chicago magazine, December 2021 issue. Woohoo! Is hitting stores now. Will be available for download and viewing tomorrow online at nachicago.com. But it's our end of the year issue. We've got wonderful, tasty recipes. Oh boy, I got the whole screen.
Yeah, you got the big screen here.
But we've got some really interesting stuff in here. As the weather's getting colder and we all want to stay, or a lot of us want to stay inside, or many people want to stay inside, it's really important to get outside every day. Get outside, see how the trees are changing, what the sky's doing, what the birds are doing. Are there sandhill cranes overhead? What's the weather like? In other words, winter is no time to hibernate. And we've got a really interesting article by a local writer, Brendan Corhane. And actually, this is a picture of him kayaking in Antarctica.
Ooh.
So we've got some really good motivation tips for how you get yourself moving in winter.
Wait, no, I thought you were going to say how you get yourself to Antarctica.
Well, that too. We got to talk to him. But, just how do you get out every day? It's so much easier in the summertime, but you can.
Yeah, it is.
Getting outside in the winter sometimes more. It's even more invigorating. Not just the weather. It's just that because everything's different. It's really different to see things change over the years. And I think that really helps people connect more with, be it a prairie, be it a woods, be it wherever you happen to be. Mm-hmm. And then Cheryl DeVore, who writes for us every month. And we've had Cheryl on the show, and we'll probably be having Cheryl back again.
And she is one of the people who've been covering the Belbo Prairie situation out at Chicago Rockford International Airport.
Yeah, so Cheryl's got a great piece this month, a little bit different from what she typically writes about local nature, but it's related, nature and environment book groups. So she has interviewed Stacy Ivanicki, who heads up I'm not reading that correctly, of Bogs and Books, not of Books and Bogs, of Bogs and Books, which is a book discussion group headquartered at Bolo Bog up in Lake County. But it's open to anybody. It's virtual.
Do they sit in the bog while they read the books?
They might have their computers there, yeah.
Yeah. No,
you can, yes, perhaps.
And hip waiters and read books.
No,
right?
there's a walking trail.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad.
Volobog. But it's based at Volobog, and it's just a lot of great ideas for nature books to enjoy yourself and to give this season. And what different environmental nature book discussion groups are covering. And for example, Go Green, Illinois, and a lot of the subgroups, Go Green, Winnetka, Wilmette, Highland Park, Northbrook, all have book discussion groups for online. The Aurora Public Library also hosts a book club. So Cheryl kind of takes us down that path. And then we've got a lot of, like I said, recipes. We've got everything from low sugar recipes to plant-based to gluten-free recipes for mint chocolate crinkles and mocktails, which could also be cocktails, should you choose.
Mocktails.
Mocktails, yes. Some mock cocktail.
Right. So it means
but you could also add your vodka or whatever.
Okay. And make it into a
true cocktail.
A true cocktail.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And there we go.
Chicago.com.
Now, you should know that only the print edition is available right now, at least until what, December 1st?
It'll go live tomorrow.
Well, the online? Oh, I thought it was later. So it goes live tomorrow. All right.
Yeah.
So folks who can't get to a location to pick up the hardcover, and of course it's always paper, never glossy. Whatever. What is your phrase?
Never glossy, always green.
Never glossy, always green. There we go. So get a copy.
And if I can put another plug in, and it's the same as for the show, support our advertisers because that's what pays for us.
Yeah. You know what? When you see Bartlett Tree Experts here, or Happy Leaf, or Blazing Star, or even the Frozen Robins, do what you can to help them out. At the very least, pick up the phone and say, or send them an email, or go to their Facebook page or whatever and say, I heard about you on the show. I think you're doing great work. And it's even if you can't buy a product, that helps us out.
Yeah.
And there was something else along those lines I was going to say, and I can't, when it comes to plugging things, I'm really bad. I know. You mentioned earlier it was iTunes. We don't really tell folks to listen to the podcast very often, but it's out there. It's on iTunes. I mean,
on Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. We've got 36,000 downloads and counting of our podcast, and
if you're listening, please give us a rating, and hopefully it's a high rating. But please give us a rating if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, if you're listening on Spotify, or some of the other places we are, because the more ratings and comments and feedback also helps.
Stitcher, Sandra reminded Stitcher, also TuneIn Radio. I mean, we're on all Google Podcast, all of them. We're on all of them basically.
Lumpin'.
So well, there we go. We should mention Lumpin' as well, because they are having
LUMPEN.
Right, and that's 105.5 in Chicago. And I was listening to our show at 8 a.m. this morning. Now, obviously, it was from last week, so it's a repeat. But now I got to find the Lumpin' Radio. They're having a celebration coming up. Let's see if I can actually find that here. Got caught off guard with that. They were just so.
All right.
Here we are. No, it's okay. It's their 30th anniversary celebration, and Lumpin' Magazine as well, on December 9th at the Chicago Cultural Center, and there's going to be.
I had no idea they were that old.
I didn't either, but I think that's mainly the magazine. It's a fundraiser, auction, and party for the 30th anniversary and the 20th anniversary of the Public Media Institute. We need to put a link up there. It's I can send this to you, Peggy, if you don't have it. No, I think I sent it to you the other day. Did you see that? Anyway, there's they call it a once in a 30 years night of delicious food, drinking, dancing, and friends. They'll be toasting Lumpin' Magazine's 30th birthday, Public Media Institute's 20th anniversary, Co-Prosperity Chicago's Quince, 5 continuous years of live 24-hour FM broadcasting on Lumpin' Radio, and other things. Like I said, they're going to have an auction. If you happen to donate to Lumpin' Radio, new donations will be matched up to $50,000 by a generous grant from the Reva and David Logan Foundation. So,
and according to their website, Lumpin' is a nonprofit community radio station located in the Bridgeport neighborhood of Chicago. You can hear our radio signal throughout Chicago at 105.5 FM, as you've said, or tune in anywhere from our website, which is lumpinradio.com. WLPN-LP is operated by a community of volunteers, DJs, curators, producers, writers, and organizers who work to connect you with the music and ideas we think you will love.
Yeah, it's true community radio, and that's why I'm happy we're on it, and you can hear our show Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. And go to Lumpin' Radio. Is it .com or .org?
.com.
.com. Lumpin' Radio, LUMPEN. Lumpin'.
I just posted it in the comments, but I don't see anything on their website about the event. So
Well, I can. You did you find the link? Because I can send you, or I'll tell you what. I'll play.
yeah,
We
yeah. Next song, send it because I'm not seeing it in my email.
Well, then maybe that's what we should do here. Maybe we should just play another song, and let's see, what have I got next? In honor of Hanukkah, let's do a Hanukkah song. This is one I'm actually familiar with. Oh Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah. That says it all right there. Judy Handler and Mark Levesque. So let's just get right into that. And we finished with you and Kathleen there on a
in the
stroll.
snow.
In the snow. Gotta like that.
I see my Thanksgiving cactus made it in there too.
Yep. Some of the photos you sent me there. I'm looking at that.
And the kolaczki baking.
Yeah, I was wondering what it was that was a photo
That
of.
was the start of kolaczkis.
Last year?
Yeah, that was last year, so it was a very small batch.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Am I going to get a batch of kolaczkis this year? You make world famous kolaczkis.
I had some for you last year. I never saw you, so I enjoyed them.
That's true. Remember, I gave you a present. I think in July of this year from the holidays last year.
Something like that,
I think
yeah.
that's when we first saw each other after the COVID thing. And I think I have something else for you now too. And I can't even remember because the months just kind of go by. You go, was I supposed to deliver something? Did something like that happen?
Yeah, I think cutting off your Ming Aurelia at some point was on the list.
Am I supposed to get you a Ming Aurelia? Oh, well, I've got some babies here. I will definitely pass those along. All right.
And did you send me that email? Because I don't see it.
Oh. Well, I was busy doing stuff. Okay.
Okay. Next commercial break.
Next commercial break. No. Let me just send it to you because I've got it right here. And it'll take just a second because I popped it up before. Here we are. There it is. Let's just pop this. Don't mind me, folks. I'm just doing stuff live on the show and sending off emails to Peggy.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan. Dan Costa writes, so rare to hear these songs from other nations and cultures. Nice music. And Marcy, who we've had on the show, perfect music for me to pack as Christmas teas. Hey, Marcy, do you want to pop your link up as well so folks can order some of your teas and herbs and baking mixes and soup mixes? That would be great if you could pop that up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Marcy, who's been, as you mentioned, on our show, she's got the best stuff, the best Oh my
Really
goodness.
good soups and
Uh,
mixes and herbs and teas and
Lautanen Raleigh is Marcy Lautanen Raleigh, and we should get her
he
link.
even made up the remember the Mike Nowak Show tea a couple of years ago when we had her
Yeah,
on?
yeah. So, yeah, I would love to hear from you. Let's get that website out there to folks as
Yeah.
well. If you can
Pop
track
that up.
And while you're doing that, I can tell you about this other story that I wanted to get here, and it is also about trees. Interesting that we're going down the tree road here. The This was in the New York Times, and this is something we have actually discussed on this show. I've been talking about this at least a decade and a half, and it's surprising that it hasn't caught on yet, and people are just beginning to find out that this is a problem. And it's your wonderful Bradford pear. Oh, Bradford pear, oh, Bradford pear, you're planted much too often. Oh, Bradford pear, oh, Bradford pear, I hope your sails, they soften. And the headline in the New York Times is, a tree that was once the suburban ideal has morphed into an unstoppable villain. Well, it's not as if we didn't know about this. In the article, they write, beginning in the 1960s, as suburbs sprouted. Oh, by the way, Rick Rojas writes this story in the New York Times. Beginning in the 1960s, as suburbs sprouted across the South, clearing land for labyrinths of cul-de-sacs and two-car garages, Bradford pears were the tree of choice. They were easily available, could thrive in almost any soil, which is a problem, I guess, now, and had an appealing shape with mahogany red leaves that lingered deep into the fall and flowers that appeared early in the spring. In fact, in Logan Square, you see them all the time in the spring. They're all over the place here.
See them everywhere.
There's that white flower. So when you see the tree with the white flower, it's possible it's a flowering crab. Most likely it's going to be a Bradford pear. I mean, if you're looking from a distance. And now the downsides of the Bradford pear, Rick Rojas writes, were subtle at first. Its white flowers, as pretty as they were, emitted a fetid odor. Can't wait. That smells almost fishy. But as the trees aged, more and more negatives emerged. They had a poor branch structure, leaving them prone to snapping and toppling in storms, sending limbs onto power lines, sidewalks, and the roofs of homes they were supposed to beautify. But the most far-reaching consequence emerged as pear trees began colonizing open fields, farmland, riverbanks, and ditches, and rising between the pines along the highways from Georgia up through the Carolinas, edging out native species and upending ecosystems. The trees grow rapidly, climbing as high as 15 feet within a decade. They can ultimately reach 50 feet high and 30 feet wide. You can't miss it, said Tim Rogers, the general manager of a company that sells plants and supplies to landscaping companies. It's everywhere. I went to a conference almost a decade ago where the environmentalists and conservationists were saying, you got to stop selling these trees. And the landscaping industry was saying, well, we've got inventory. We've got to get out there. So give us 5 years. But I bet you can go to one of those box stores in the spring and pick out a Bradford pear. Mm-hmm. Or a different, it's not just Bradford. There's different cultivars too.
Yeah, calorie pears.
They claimed they were all sterile, but they breed with each other, with the different ones. And now they're everywhere and crowding out native landscapes.
And South Carolina is becoming the second state to try to ban them, Ohio being the first.
Yep. And I'm just still stunned that we're dealing with this, okay? That it hasn't stopped, and we haven't learned our lessons yet. Ami. All right, we need to play some more music, I think it's time to go back to Bruce A. Henry and his CD, I'll Be Home for Christmas. Here's a tune that is a traditional tune, but not necessarily the way he does it.
Joy to the world, the Lord has come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. Oh yeah. Joy to the world, the Savior reigns. Let all their songs employ, while fields and floods, rock hills and plains repeat the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joy. Our joy. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, yeah, wonders of his love, sweet love, my Lord. Joy to the world, I can feel it. Joy and peace and love to everyone, everyone. Come on, you know, it make you wanna clap your hands and love somebody. Yeah, make you wanna sing about it. Come on, joy to the world. Yeah, ooh, I feel it in my bones, like love in my bones. Joy, thank you, Savior, thank you, Son of God. Yeah. Come on, all around the world. Joy, joy in the morning for every boy and girl. Come on, take, shake your hands and feel it.
The guy is good. It's a fun CD, and we still haven't figured out how to give a couple away, which we have to do before we get out of here. So time for some brainstorming, Peggy. So
Yeah, I think just look for a couple suggestions from people of, people are talking about what they're baking, what they're cooking.
I'll tell you what. Give me a suggestion for a way that you plan to make the holiday greener, or you already have. Okay? And by greener, more sustainable, healthier, all of that. Something that you're planning to do or have done. And
we've got a couple of CDs to give away here. So
yeah. All right. And we got some more talking to do. It's the Mike Nowak Show with Peggy Malecki. We're going to take a very short break, and we'll be right back.
A big hello.
From all of us here at Bartlett Tree Experts.
Whether we're up in the trees,
On the ground.
in the office,
or in the lab,
We really do love our work.
We feel so lucky
to share our passion.
for trees with you.
And we want to say
Thank you
for choosing us
as your tree service.
we look forward
to working with you.
Season's greetings.
Feliz Navidad
Happy Hanukkah.
Merry Christmas.
and a Happy New Year.
From spring seed and soil treatments to summer foliar feeding to fall stubble digesters, Blazing Star provides microbial tools from tiny biologicals for natural and organic farmers. They have solutions for home gardeners too. And Blazing Star offers agroecological education and consulting, especially for permaculture work in zones 4 and 5. Learn more about these great folks at blazing-star.com.
And welcome back to the Mike Nowak Show with Peggy Malecki. Now, it's hard to say how far we'll go here. I think maybe a half hour more. That'll give us a chance to play a few more tunes and talk about some more stuff, including a story that I saw. This was in the Washington Post. How climate change and extreme weather are crimping America's pie supply. Dun, dun. Say it ain't so.
No!
Excuse me.
What?
I had to cough. I
sorry. I was typing at the same time, so I wasn't watching you.
You weren't watching. It says, for months, supply chain issues and labor shortages have been putting the squeeze on Mike's Pies. This is out of Tampa, Florida.
Not your pies, but a company
Yeah,
called
right.
Mike's Pies.
A company. No, not Mike's Pies. Believe me, though, the Washington Post is not writing about me, okay?
But just to clarify for our listeners,
Yeah, it's a popular commercial bakery that's been selling pies from Mike Martin's mother's recipes for 3 decades. But climate change is heightening those challenges, and many of the ingredients in Mike's pies, wheat, berries, honey, soybean oil, among numerous others, have been hit hard by climate and weather effects, including droughts, wildfires, and power shutdowns around the world. That's sending prices soaring, and combined with a scarcity of workers and other hurdles, is causing mayhem throughout the global food supply chain. We are cutting every order that we ship. We can't fulfill the obligations, Martin said. Wow. This is amazing.
Yeah. And they had a big issue with graham crackers, I saw in that
Really?
article.
I missed that. Oh, you mean
Yeah.
in this art? Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that because of the special flour that goes into
Right.
graham cracker crust.
Yeah. It says stocks of seasonal items from entrees to desserts are significantly below pre-pandemic times, with meat and pies at the highest risk of being out of stock entirely. Food prices, as you know, are up. And the whole thing about inflation is kind of interesting because the doomsayers are saying, "Oh, inflation, it's going to kill us here." Well, guess what? A lot of people have, not everybody. I mean, it's kind of hard to judge, but the pandemic cut back on things people bought to some extent too. So there's more income, and they also got subsidized to some degree from the government and from the businesses they worked for. So, and it's to be expected after a pandemic, this surge in prices. This is not the fault of anybody. It's a fault of COVID primarily, because of the supply chains being blocked and different things going on. It's a very, very complex issue, but to point at it and not to point at it without context is really dangerous. So, yeah, some things are seeing the prices go up, and pies. I had no idea. So this, and again, all of these articles are at MikeNowak.net. I posted them. Whoops.
Now, another thing is, so these are pies. Now, this is a Southern Pie Company, so it's mostly going to Publix and Winn-Dixie and a lot of the major grocery chains, but we're going to see the same things across the country. So I just posted a link under the Buy Local. If you go to a lot of the Midwest growers and millers, Janie's Mills, a lot of the other ones, you can go to graincollaborative.com and get links to supporting local farmers, local Midwest farmers, local Midwest millers, and get grain online. I don't know what their supplies are like, but you're making your own then, and you're supporting local. And you're not going to the big box store to buy the pie that's coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
Or not coming from somewhere.
Yeah. I heard almost none of that because I was looking at some of the comments, but I'm sure it was very valuable information here.
I was saying, make your own pie.
Oh,
support
right.
Midwest growers. Go to graincollaborative.com to find online sources for flours and grains and other baking supplies.
Yeah, no, you're right, because we've talked.
King Arthur flour, they're out.
We've talked about them on the show before, and that's a great idea right there. I'm looking at some of the. And Andrew, do not ask me if you're going to ask who won the Michigan-Ohio State game. I'm just going to play "Hail to the Victors" again. So, do you really want that? I don't think so. I don't think anybody really wants that.
No, once is enough.
So Jeannie says we're not using outdoor lights. The 3 ever trees in the garden become Santa gnomes. I like that. That's pretty good. Mm-hmm. That's a good one. Marcy says, got an artificial tree this year made from recycled plastics, much to my hubby from Wisconsin's chagrin. Oh, I like that.
But artificial trees, if you're not throwing them out every year, I mean, I'm still using, when the years I put the tree up, I got mine in the early 90s. It's the same tree.
Well, you know what my Christmas tree is and has been now for several years is my 8-foot-tall Chiflura. I drag it in, all 100 pounds of it from the outside.
I don't have any plants that tall, so.
Yeah, it's good to have a plant that tall and then I just throw some lights over it. You got to be careful because the Chiflura leaves will bend a little bit, but they'll bend, but they'll handle it. And boom. I mean, I do miss the smell. But the smell lasts only for a little while. And then you're worried about the thing drying out. And then you got needles that are dropping. And then you got to dispose of it. And when I do dispose of trees, I don't, please, if you have a real Christmas tree, please don't throw it in the garbage. Mm-hmm. Please.
There's all sorts of tree recycling at the end of the season.
Everywhere. That is what we call low-hanging fruit. Or you just cut the limbs off yourself, which I have done, and then you throw them on your garden as mulch. And that will add to the nutrients in the soil.
You put the tree out in the yard for habitat for the birds and critters.
Exactly. Well, listen to this. Bruce says he's coming back from the Illinois game. Going north on 57, so he obviously celebrated. It must have been celebrating that victory, Illinois victory. But I'm glad he's listening in the car, listening to us do the show. The wonders of the inner tubes, man. There's nothing you can't do.
Oh, my.
And so,
And Diana says she and Nick use a small artificial tree she bought back in the early 90s.
yeah, reusing is a big part of this. I mean, we reuse our Christmas ornaments, right? Or whatever holiday, whether you celebrate Hanukkah or Christmas or whatever, you're reusing.
Just put up a tree for the winter, yes.
Yeah. So those are great suggestions. I think to start.
So I've got 3 people's names written down so far for music here.
Okay, I think Jeannie and Marcy definitely are going to get CDs. Okay, now we have to figure out which one gets which. We got 2 of each to give away. So Jeannie and Marcy, let me know what you want, and we will make sure you get them. And in fact, we should probably go before we go to another song. Probably go to you sent me a very interesting story about corn in the history of corn. It's called A Thanksgiving History Lesson in a Handful of Corn.
And this is a New York Times article from November 22nd of this year. A Thanksgiving history lesson in a handful of corn. The cornmeal that's become a staple of the holiday table reflects millenniums of work by Native Americans.
No, wait, I got to stop you there.
People are trying to keep alive.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. Millenniums in the New York Times, wouldn't it be millennia?
Millenniums of work is right here in the New York Times.
I know.
MILLENNIUMS, right in the subheader.
So the New York Times has given up on the correct version of the word millennia? Huh? Okay.
I don't know.
Millenniums. Okay.
I don't know.
All right. I guess it's just like stadiums and stadia. Right?
Alumni and alumnus and alumni.
Well, yeah, but there's 4 of those. They're all, the people still use those correctly, I think. But I have not heard millenniums, and certainly not in the New York Times. But continuez, s'il vous plaît.
So this article is talking about corn, obviously. In September, Danielle Hill Grenadier harvested 200 to 300 ears of hard red kerneled King Philip corn she'd planted in the Mashpee Wampanoag Tribe's community garden in Massachusetts. Although it was her first crop, Miss Grenadier, a tribal member, likes to say that the corn came back to her. And the article is talking about how some of these ancient corns, or fairly ancient corn varieties, that were very specific to Native communities, have been dying out, but talking about how corn written into genetic codes of areas and the whole history of the areas, and how some of the Native groups are now trying much to be bringing these varieties back. It says actually here, unlike deer or cranberries, maize wasn't just there for the taking. Its long history of cultivation goes back at least 9,000 years, according to archaeologists. Through selective breeding, indigenous peoples living in the Balsas River Valley, south of Mexico City, turned a crop called teosinte, a wild grass with little value as food, into a crop bearing ears of large, closely packed kernels that were dense with proteins and other nutrients. This new strain had been altered so much from the occurring grass it couldn't survive in the wild. Neither can its descendants. To keep any line of maize from dying out, farmers have to plant it faithfully, keep it far from any other variety, and save some kernels for next year. So there are various heirloom varieties that right now they are really trying to be bringing back. And this article is kind of interesting how European settlers quickly learned to appreciate the local maize they acquired by theft and trade, but not so much the people, yet the corn has survived. And there's a lot of efforts right now to be bringing back a lot of these original corn varieties. Company called True Love Seeds, a company that has a rematriation program and trade with other tribal members who want to grow the corns, etc. It's a long article. So
yeah, it is, and that's okay. But it's all about getting back to roots, again, and a staple that was cultivated by folks in Mexico. And the idea of turning that grass, what it started with and what it became, to me is fascinating. How do you get that a grass into the thing that becomes corn with the ear and the cob in there? That's just amazing stuff. It's
the symbiotic relationship between corn and humans over the not millennia.
Millennia, whatever. Hey, it's the New York Times. It must be right. They must have got. Kathleen was going to do a either an article or a book about she started collecting things about all the times the New York Times got it wrong, got the English language, butchered the English language, and she was going to write a book.
It happened.
It happened. I know, because you got editors and stuff, and people miss stuff.
Typos happen.
But they're not all typos, okay? Millenniums is not a typo. I can guarantee that.
That's right in the subhead.
Yeah. I know, right in the subhead. And anyway, she said, I said, you gotta do this book. She said, hey, I want to get work again someday, okay? So she's a freelance writer, and she thought, no, probably like poking the bear is not a good way to get future work. So, although I think it would have made an excellent book. All right, let's do another song here. Let's get back to Judy Handler and Mark Levesque. This one is an Irish one. It's actually a carol that my group does as well. You don't hear it a lot, but you've probably heard of it, called Christmas in Killarney. I'm handing you no blarney, the likes you've never known. I won't sing anymore.
I presume Legata has left the room.
Oh, Legata's long gone. Legata is long gone. I wanted to get to something here. A couple of stories. One serious, other not as serious. Let's start with the serious one, and then we can wrap it up with something a little lighter. It was something I mentioned to you the other week, and you said, "What are you talking about?" And it is I found it in National Geographic, and this was in the midst of COP26 as that was going on. It was a story about controversial renewable air quotes energy source, trees. All right. the idea that millions of tons of wood pellets, each the length of
i.e. ground up trees.
Right. Well,
and,
yeah.
and
Well,
other stuff.
where do you think they come from? The length
and
of
other stuff.
They're replacing coal in Europe. Here's the problem. They're billed as clean fuel that helps countries meet their renewable energy targets. And it's a rapidly growing industry, right now valued at $50 billion in 2020. Here's the logic.
They're calling it net zero.
See if you can spot the flaw. As long as forests are allowed to regrow after trees are cut and burned, the carbon dioxide released by burning will be absorbed by the growing trees. It's a net zero transaction, proponents say. And the European Union and other governments have accepted the argument wood is considered a zero emissions fuel. At the smokestack, burning wood actually emits more greenhouse gas emissions than coal. But critics of the biomass industry say a complicated global system for counting emissions has created a loophole. Countries are not required to count the carbon emissions emitted by wood-fired power plants. That allows woody biofuels to flourish as a climate solution, nevertheless.
Mm-hmm.
And earlier this year, 500 scientists sent a letter to the world leaders warning that logging forests for bioenergy would undermine the fight against climate change. You think? Go ahead, Peggy.
It says, yet it's actually not too complicated to understand why scientists and environmentalists say burning wood is not a simple net zero exercise. The most fundamental problem is one of timing. The biomass industry argues that emissions caused by cutting and burning trees are offset by the trees that grow in their place, but trees take a long time to grow.
Yeah.
It's like you draw down your checkbook, you create a debt in your account. The study estimated the carbon payback time for wood burning ranged from 44 to 104 years, depending on the type of the forests.
So here we are trying to solve the carbon dioxide problem in the atmosphere, and countries in Europe and the United States, because they're part of it, because they're selling them, are working on loopholes. Let's figure out how we can get around this and still burn stuff. Wow, it's just a head scratcher. It really, really is. And I think we need to do another song here. And then I think I want to get to the article that I hope you had a chance to look at, Peggy. The where is it here?
Bird feeders?
Yes, the bird feeders, because it's possible you've noticed that in yours. I don't know how much you pay attention to that stuff.
All the time. I've been watching a couple of downy woodpeckers out on the suet feeder this morning.
Yeah, and downies are mentioned in this article as being, one of the ones that are of particular interest. I want to play two more songs. I'm going to do one more by Judy and Mark, kind of switch the order here, and then do one to wrap up.
And we have two more CDs to give away. So a couple more ideas. What are y'all doing to be a little more sustainable this holiday?
Yeah, Robert says green light for clear cutting. Yeah, clear cutting. Don't get me started, especially if it's old growth. And part of the problem with that story we were just talking about, they plant those trees to be harvested within a couple of decades. That's the idea, and then because then they're just making the wood chips out of them, the pellets out of them. So they say, well, they don't have to grow. And by the way, they're sucking carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere as they're growing. But you know what? A mature tree does that a lot better than one that's 10 years old or 20 years old. So, and as you pointed out, Peggy, there's that lag. We're burning now, but the savings from carbon dioxide isn't going to be realized for 40 or 50 years at best.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
what-
Profits now. Same with prairies. Yeah, profits now.
yeah. All right. I want to play another song here. As I said, there's a couple of. This is a really fun one. This is not necessarily a traditional song, but it's a tradition in the United States, maybe from the 50s, since the 1950s, by Mark Levesque and Judy Handler, and I'm just going to play it, and I think you'll recognize the tune. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe Jeannie's going to get that CD.
Yep.
Marcy's
Marcy's going to get one of Bruce's CDs.
That's right.
And let's see. Greg says, I saved the fleece trims left over from my work projects to replace ribbon. No wrapping paper needed. Nice finishing touch on the Thanksgiving foodie gifts.
Good for you, Greg. All right. That works for me. Greg's getting a CD too. We got one left to give away.
Let us know which one you prefer, Greg, or which one you'd like. Not prefer, they're both wonderful, but which one you'd like.
All right.
So we got one more. Who can give us what else they are doing to make a more sustainable holiday season?
It's not hard. It's not a hard question. All right, let's go back to the feeder war. This is from the Audubon Society. And
Here we are.
the subheading is When It's Time to Eat, research shows there's a pecking order, and the winners aren't always who'd you think. Now, I have to tell you about I've been using the suet feeders in the back. I know you've got all kinds of feeders. I sort of do one at a time here. I can't handle all the different feeders at once. but I'm going to move the.
And I was going to say, sorry for that link I put up. I can't shorten it, folks. So you get this whole long blah, blah, blah.
Which link is that?
The Audubon link. It keeps wanting, I keep trying to shorten it. It keeps making it long. So you might be able to do just feeder war and get to it.
Yeah. It says feeders might seem like friendly spots where chickadees, finches, woodpeckers, and nuthatches can kumbaya over a good meal, but that couldn't be further from the truth.
That would be interesting to watch.
Yeah, it would be. Well, in mine, again, it's usually 10,000 sparrows, all right? And then what happens is the downy woodpecker will come and chase them all away, and the sparrows will because apparently from this article, downies, they're tough. They fight above their weight. It says here, some of the winners were a little more surprising. For instance, downy woodpeckers were feared because despite their small stature, and Miller's convinced it's because of their formidable bills, which are used for hammering into trees and could double as battle gear.
Gear.
Okay.
Battle station.
Exactly. Also hummingbirds.
Oh yeah.
They need to feed regular, right? So they have to feed like every 15 minutes. So they're like, get out of my way. Okay.
Yeah. Although downy woodpeckers versus hummingbirds, because downies will go after the nectar feeders.
Yeah.
They will scare off the hummingbirds.
Will they? Okay.
At least, yeah. And then the yellow jackets come along and scare them all off.
So they did some comparisons here. American goldfinch versus black-capped chickadee. Now, if I see a goldfinch, I'm like, yay, it's a goldfinch in my yard. I'm smack in the middle of Chicago and not near.
You have a lot of goldfinches. I've heard them in your neighborhood.
I don't see them. I see them sometimes in the backyard. And it says both of these birds are low on the feeder totem pole, but goldfinches have a slight edge in size. Still, black-capped chickadees are far more aggressive than American goldfinches, meaning they tend to get the prime spot. This is I like this one. Mourning dove.
Yeah, this next one's surprising.
Yeah, mourning dove versus house sparrow. And I haven't seen any mourning doves in my yard in a while.
Because your Cooper's hawk came by.
Well, I haven't seen any pigeons in a while. I saw one finally the other day. We used to have them just like all over the place. I'm wondering if that Cooper's hawk scared them off. I have no idea.
Probably patrolling the neighborhood.
It could be. It says mourning doves are known for their passive natures, so their overall dominance score is far weaker than their bulk suggests. Yet they can beat out house sparrows, which weigh about as much as a slice of bread. Although
they're a lot more aerodynamic.
Yeah, really. Well, go figure. And then there was the see, you get jays. I do not, but I do get starlings.
I get them both. Yep.
Yeah. So it says these two species are perfectly matched despite blue jays' heavier weight and bullying nature. The introduced species starlings don't often neatly fit into a predicted pattern. He thinks this might have to do with how successful they've been at thriving in new environments. So apparently that it's a standoff between those two. And then they have the raven versus the American crow, the pileated woodpecker versus the red-bellied woodpecker. Boy, or is it?
Yeah, the red bellies will the downies and the hairy woodpeckers will take off when the red-bellied comes by. That's the pecking order on my suet feeders for sure.
Ah, okay. So the thing I like about the suet feeder, and even though I'm going to put the seed feeder back out there, is the suet feeder is really entertaining because the crazy sparrows will hang upside down, getting into it, and then they twist around as the thing goes around.
Yeah, and so do the nuthatches and the chickadees. They'll hang upside down and everything else on them.
That's pretty entertaining. Got to admit. All right, is there anything else you want to get out before I think we're going to say goodbye.
Yeah, I think
I think I'm going to give people a break. They don't have to sit through everything today. So
let's see, and then let's see. We got a couple people here. Deb says, I ask for paper bags from the grocery store, save and plan to use as wrapping for holiday gifts. I'll draw on them to make them look festive. I do this instead of buying gift wrapping paper, which is made out of hard to recycle mixed materials and goes straight to the landfill. And Diana says, I reuse the dirty water in my plants from our angelic organic CSA veggie baths. By the way, we also now get Sitka salmon shares after hearing about them from your show.
Ooh. Thank you, Diana. I love Sitka salmon share. They are just the best. Well, here's what I'm going to do. Deborah's going to get it, if only because she just beat out Diana in getting the comment in. So we'll figure out which CDs we have left. We had 2 of each to give away here.
Yep. I've got them written down here. Who's requested which?
Greg wanted Santa Baby.
Judy and
Mark. So Deb, you're going to get Bruce A. Henry.
Yeah. So we'll follow up with Jeannie. Maybe you send us a Mike at MikeNowak.net. If you could send us a note with mailing address.
Yeah.
And I think we have everyone else's emails that we can track down.
Yeah. And we will make sure you get the CDs. And by the way, go to my website, MikeNowak.net, and I've got the links in case you just want to purchase one of these, and I hope you do. That's part of why we're doing this. I needed to play something before we go. I meant to do it as we get into the holiday season.
But listen, it's a contract, isn't it?
Oh, sure.
We've got a contract, no matter how small it is.
Hey, wait. What does this say here, this thing here?
Oh, that's the usual clause. That's in every contract. That just says, if any of the parties participating in this contract are shown not to be in their right mind, the entire agreement is automatically nullified.
Well, I don't know.
It's all right. That's in every contract. That's what they call a sanity clause.
You can't fool me. There ain't no sanity clause.
One of the best ever. One of the best. And for all the folks who are cooking during the holiday season, don't forget to use
real butter.
All right. So I've got all the favorites. I'm purging myself of all the favorites here.
There's one I'm going to ask you for after the show that we'll get the YouTube. YouTube.
That I don't have. That I don't have in the file.
Not
already?
This morning, but yeah, there's yeah.
All right,
It's one of our favorites.
We're not going to do our usual send off with the Muppets. We're going to have Bruce Henry play us out, as they say in the biz. Thank you all for watching this morning. Thanks to our artists. And let me hold up their CDs one more time. I'll Be Home for Christmas, Bruce A. Henry, Joy to the World, Judy Handler, and Mark Levesque. You can do a lot worse than to pick up each of these.
Get your copy. Go to the website.
This is like Plug City. This is the commercial holiday. We're a commercial program. I'm going to have to edit the bejesus out of this show for the various places that it airs, especially the low power FM stations I'm not allowed to do any advertising.
That would be Lumpin' Radio, WRWO.
Right, and Lumpin'.
Yep.
So thank you all for paying attention and not falling asleep and baking while we're right, and getting the jingle bells out and for using
real butter.
Okay, so
and seriously, as we said, please, if you go to Apple Podcasts and subscribe and download and give us a rating and help raise us up in Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Stitcher, we'd really appreciate it.
All right. There's our commercial part of our program. Now let's get to the entertainment part of the program. Everybody have a great week. We will see you next Sunday again with meteorologist Rick DiMaio. We'll be back, and probably I'm looking at a book right now that I think we're going to be talking about. All right, Peg.
So until next week, go green or
go home.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can plan on me. Please have snow and mistletoe and presents under the tree. Christmas Eve will find me where the love light gleams. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams. I'll be home for Christmas. You can plan on me. Please have snow and mistletoe and presents under the tree. Christmas Eve will find me where the love light gleams. I'll be home for Christmas, if only